Thank you, Baram, and thank all of you for the campaign, which is very, very important, and for inviting me. I have really deep respect for Iranian women fighting for more than 40 years, although being tortured and imprisoned and executed for their freedom. And as Baram said, I firmly believe that the freedom of women is the prerequisite for the freedom of society. Now, in general, everybody in the European Union will agree with that. Our own foreign minister in Germany, Heiko Maas, uses every opportunity to underline his support for women's rights. Also, the EU High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs, Josep Borrell, does the same. In fact, last year, on November 25, 2020, which is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, Josep Borrell launched a new Gender Act, the Gender Act 3, which determines measures to lead via the European Union countries the world to more gender equality. And I applaud him for doing that. That is a good thing because we all know that the freedom of women determines the freedom of society. But then there's a very, very simple test. If those measures who are proposed by Josep Borrell can be implemented by the Iranian regime, and the Iranian regime will remain in power, then those do not work. Because the Iranian regime is on gender apartheid. When Khomeini returned to Iran on the 1st of February 1979, one of his first measures was to force women under the chador and to degrade them to second-degree human beings. And we all know that. We know that women have been tortured and imprisoned and caned and stoned for more than 40 years in Iran just for demanding equal rights. Now, if we want to advocate for equal gender rights, for the same rights for women and men, then we have to do it in consequence, both internally and externally. Because we cannot explain to our youth why it is wrong to suppress women, why women have the same rights as men, and why it is also wrong to discriminate against Jews, against homosexuals, against other minorities like the Baha'i, in the European Union, in Germany, but then collaborate with a regime who's doing all of that. So we cannot defend our own core values if we do not defend them towards other countries. And we have seen the radicalization in Europe. We see that through social media, for example, Khamenei has Twitter accounts. He radicalizes the youth in Europe. We see the letters to the youth of Khamenei distributed in English within the European Union. We know that organizations led by the Iranian regime, financed by the Iranian regime, do everything to radicalize the youth. And one of the cornerstones of the Iranian regime is the downgrading of women as human beings, from human beings to objects, really. And with that, they spread this ideology not only in the Middle East, to Lebanon, to Syria, to Iraq, but also within Europe. Now, we have seen terror attacks in 2020, horrible terror attacks in Vienna, near France, and near Paris in France. Also, the murder of a homosexual man in east of Germany. All of these were executed by Islamist terrorists. The only reason we haven't seen terrorist attacks by Iranian agents is because they were stopped. We have several terror attacks within the European Union from Iranian agents that were foiled. One of those agents is now imprisoned in Belgium. He wanted to execute a terror attack in Paris. And we have several agents, Iranian agents in Germany, who threatened dissidents like Mina Hadi and also threatened members of Jewish organizations. So how can we explain to our youth that it is not all right to suppress Jews and to murder them yet again in Germany if we collaborate with the Iranian regime? That doesn't make sense, and they will not believe us if we do this. So it is not enough to ban Hezbollah. It is a good step, and all of the European Union should do that, not only the Netherlands, the UK, which of course left the European Union, and Germany now, but it is not enough. We have to fight the radicalization of our youth, internally and externally. Now, on November 25, the same day that Joseph Borrell launched his third Gender Act 3, Mina Hadi Nailachiki and I appealed to the government of Germany and also to the European Union to fight all forms of extremism, and especially to fight gender apartheid and to boycott the Iranian regime. And we will renew this appeal to the European Union on March 8, on International Women's Day, because it is tremendously important to be consequential in our acts. And I will join Peter Tatchell. I'm sure it is very, very important to support the Iranian people. It is not enough just to do our lip service. I spoke to Iranians who were tortured, like Shiva. I spoke to mothers whose daughters were executed just because they were raped. And that alone should stop us collaborating with the Iranian regime. But we also have to understand that if we do not do that, we cannot defend our core values, the core values of the European Union inside. So I'm looking very much forward to the day where the Iranian regime falls. And I promise you, I will dance on the streets of Tehran with the girls of the Revolution Street.
Wow.